Hi guys, today I want to talk about the question that one of the subscribers asked. Is it possible after rigging and animating the character to copy the animation for another character? I said the easiest way to do this is to replace the new character with the previous one, so that there is no need to rig and animate it again. Therefore, in this video I discuss how to replace the character after it's completely rigged and animated. So don't forget to like this video and consider subscribing if you like more of these videos. And also comment and tell me your problems in motion graphics. Maybe the next video is about your problem. Okay, let's go. In this video I want to work on this character. As you remember, I already rigged and animated this character, and now I want to replace it with a new character. The character that I chose this time is obtained from FreePic, and just like the previous character, it is free and it's made by the same author, and you can easily download it and start using it. So I downloaded and imported into Illustrator. Now I just delete the layers that I don't need and keep the rest, so my job would be easier later on in After Effects. The size of the character is not important, because I want to take the layers to the After Effects and convert them into the shape. So I delete the layers that I don't need. And I separate the remaining layers. Firstly, I select the head of my character. I unselect the neck. I hit Ctrl X. I make a new layer, and by pressing Ctrl Shift V, I paste it where it was. I want her back hair to be separate as well, so I put it in another layer. I rename them as well. I select the arm layers and put them in a new layer. I select the body and the neck all together. I put them in a new layer. And I keep these classes to use if I want. So I put it in a new layer as well. Okay, after I'm done doing that, I save my file. After saving, I go to After Effects and import it there. I import it as a composition and a layer size in After Effects. I open the comp. I set the resolution to full. And to have a better quality, I enable the sun option for all of the layers. The first thing to do is replace the body of this character with the character I already have over here. To do so, I select the body and convert it to shape. I move it right here. As you can see, when I convert it to shape, sometimes there is an artboard for the shapes, which makes it difficult to select the layers. To delete this artboard, I open the layer. In Contents, Group 1, I delete this Group 1 and merge Path 1. I do the same for the other groups as well. And to do this in a much easier way, I copy its name and paste it here. Then I proceed to delete every Group 1. And I do the same to merge Path 1. Alright, after that I rename it and select all these layers, then I hit Ctrl G to put them in a new group and name it Body Group. I copy this group and back to the main comp, and I go to the beginning of the timeline. I trim the work area here. Isolate the body layer. I select contents and paste that group. I put it above this. I select it and move it down a bit. To work easily, I select the layer. I move it where the end of the other character's body. And I put its anchor point right here as well. After that's done, I drag this while holding shift and I try to match the sizes. After that, I hide the other layers. Okay, now if you pay attention, the new body has the same animation that the previous body had. Now it's time for the head part. I go to the other comp. I move the head layer here. I convert it to shape, and then I do the same that I did for the body layer, so this frame wouldn't be here anymore. I select all the layers and put them in a group, and rename it to the head group. And I copy it and paste it to this comp. In the head layer, I select contents and hit Ctrl V, and I put it above all. I do the same that I did for the body parts. I put it here and move its anchor point as well, and I enlarge the layer as shown. I hold shift so the proportions wouldn't change. Obviously enough, you can resize the head to your liking. After that, I hide the other layers. Let me the background transparent so I can see the results better. The head seems to be a little bit lower at this point, and the shadow of the head isn't visible. To correct this, I move the indicator to one of the position keyframes, and by holding Ctrl and dragging the Y position, I move the head slightly upper. Alright, after that I duplicate the head layer and move it under the body. And then I paste the back hair in it. I convert the layer to shape. Then I proceed to do what I did before. I copy this and paste it here. Then I move it under the head. And here I delete the head and rename the layer to back hair. Let's see how it turned out. It's okay so far. Now let's go for the leg. For that, I make the right leg visible. I like the body layer so it doesn't select, and I can easily select the null objects. I move the indicator to the contact pose so the leg would be straight. I select the null of the thigh and the ankle. I open their positions, then I select them, and by holding Ctrl and dragging the X position, I move it to the middle of the thigh joint. After that, I select the thigh and increase the stroke width. I set it to 72. I do the same for the shin part as well. I select it and set the blue one to 72. And to make the leg slightly thinner at the end, I go to the thigh in the stroke and taper. I decrease the end width a little. I set it to 79. I go to the chin part and in the stroke, taper, I select the start width to select all its keyframes. And by holding Ctrl and dragging, I make it thinner a little bit. After that, I recolor them so they would match the new character pants. I do the same for the thigh part as well. And this part should be the same color as the color of the skin. Let's check it out. I do. Right here, I think it's a little bit too small. It looks better now. I copy this keyframe right here as well. Okay, after that, I work on the shoes. The shoe is in this layer, so I duplicate this layer and mask the shoe because I only want to use it as a reference, and change the color of this shoe. I select the shoe layer and hit Ctrl V. I go to the main shoe. The lower part should be white, which is correct. The shoelace should also be white. This part should be black. And the only thing that I have to do is add a new shape layer because I want to create this white thing. I disable the stroke and color it white. I rename it to front, and I create a keyframe for its path. I press U, and in the down pose, it should be alright. In the pass pose, it should be lower. I change it a little bit so the black line should be visible. In the up pose, in the contact pose, let me hide the leg. Here it's good. In the down pose, it looks good. Right here, I copy this and paste it here. Okay, it seems alright. And in the end, I put it right here. Okay, it's good. There's an issue right here, and that is some of the shapes of the head haven't pasted here. So I go to the previous comp, and as you can see, the lips and earrings aren't in the main comp. In the head layer, I copy these layers. I go here and paste them here. I move group 3 up here. It should be above group 4. I rearranged them so the shapes would be shown correctly. It looks better now. I open the position of the layer and the head should be lowered a little bit because I don't want this part of the shadow to be visible. So I select the position and by holding Ctrl and dragging, I move it down. And to move the back hair alongside the head, I parent it to the head layer. First of all, I delete its keyframes. I set the scale to its default value. And then I parent it to the head layer. And now I lower the head layer a little bit so this issue will be resolved. I hold Ctrl and drag it down. Let's see. It looks good. Now let's work on the arms. To do so, I make the right arm visible. I select the arm layer. I select the sleeve part and decrease the stroke width. Okay, it's good. I recolor it to white. I disable transparency and I have to move the arm up a little. To do that, I select the null of the shoulder, open its position, and move it up, so it would match perfectly. It looks good now. Let me play and see how it turned out. I create a keyframe for it here, in the contact pose as well. And in the last contact, I move it up, so there won't be any problems. It looks good. If you wanted the arm to be like this, I mean the sleeve would be this line, you don't have to change anything. But if you want the arms to look like this, I go to the arm layer, in Trim Pass, I delete the end keyframe, and I make it look like this. And then I duplicate this yellow part. In the stroke, I want this part to be capped like this. In the stroke, I set the line cap to bot cap. And in the trim pass, I lower the end width just like that. And then I recolor the lower part the same color as the skin. I do the same to the hand as well. To make this part round, in the black layer stroke, I set line join to round join. And to make the arm thick here and thin here, I select black and increase the width and set it to 32. And to make it thinner over here, in the expression, just like how I talked about it before, I parented this end width to the end width of the sleeve part. And now I want the end width of this part to be smaller than the end width of the sleeve. For that, at the end of this expression, I type slash, it means to divide. Then I type 1.2. Let's see how it goes. Okay, as you see, the sleeve has a problem in the first contact pose. To fix that, I go to this part, in the trim path, decrease the end width a little, and set it to 20. And then in the taper, I make it look like this. It looks alright. And in the end, I copy and paste the first keyframe again. I move it up here a little bit. Let's check it out. It looks great. Okay, after that, I delete the layers that are for the left arm, as well as the left leg layers. And to create the left leg, I have to duplicate the right leg. To do that, I select the layers of the right leg and duplicate them. I put them on top and recolor them so they would be obvious. I add a null object and place it exactly in the middle of the character. And I parent the null object of the thigh to this null, as well as the null object of the ankle. And then I flip the null object horizontally. After that, I select the thigh, I go to the effects control, and here I have to define the new null objects. I mean this 16 and 17. So here I define 16 and here 17. I do the same for the shin part as well. 19 and 20. 19 should be here and 20 should be here. It looks alright. After that, I unparent this null. And I parent this null to the body. And I put the first null object that I created above the arm layers. So now to make the animation of the right leg work correctly, I go to the second contact and create a marker right here, and this marker should be in the beginning. So I select all the layers of the left leg and move them back. Let's see how it turned out. Okay, this issue is because of parenting. I select the thigh layer and press E twice. And then I select the shin layer and hit E twice again. So the values with expression would show up. As you can see, this end width should be parented to this end width. To fix this part as well, in the middle contact, I select this null and this one. I open their positions and move it right so it would match the body. And this issue is because the shape that I added hasn't been looped yet. To loop it, I just copy this expression and select this and paste it here. Let's take a look at it. To see the character better, I hit Ctrl K, and in the composition settings, I change the background color to gray. It looks good. Now I select the arm layers and duplicate them and put them atop. I change their color. Then I parent this null object to this null object in the middle. And again I flip this null horizontally. So the left arm would be created as well. And again I define these null objects. 9, 10, and 11. And I parent this to the body of the character again. Then I delete this null object. Again, in the middle contact, I create a marker for it and move it to the beginning. Okay, I just have to fix this null object position. So I select the keyframes and match it with the body part. Let's see how it turned out. It's good. For the animation of the eyes and eyebrows, since they are identical to the previous character, I can use the previous ones just fine. However, if they were different, you just have to paste the new eye shapes to the previous eye layers just like what I did to the head of the character. You can do the same for the eyes and eyebrows as well. So to make the job easier, I recolor the eyebrows to black. I select the head layer, I hide the eyes and eyebrows. Instead, I make these visible, and for eyebrows, they are a little bit thinner. And for eyes, the eyelashes are a bit bolder. And I recolor this shape to match the character's skin. I want to copy these keyframes and paste them here. To do so, let me open the Fazel in the animation. After selecting the keyframes, I hit copy and then paste. And then I speed it up just a little bit. After that, it's time to work on the animation of the back hair. To do so, I use the bend effect. I place the start point right here and the end point here, maybe a little bit lower, so that I can create such a movement for the hair. So I create a keyframe for its bend in the beginning. When the right leg of the character is on the ground, it should be bent right this way. I set it to 45. When another leg is on the ground, I set it to minus 45. And for the last contact, I just copy and paste the keyframe of the first contact pose. Then I make it easy ease. This problem happens because the character and the layer move, but the end and start points of the bend effect don't. To make these points move along the layer, I hold Alt and click on the start stopwatch, and then type to comp, and in the parentheses, I type value. I copy this expression and paste it for the end as well. After that, I have to move these points to where they were. Okay, it turned out great. Just one more thing to fix this hair problem, so I open the layer and fix its path. As you can see, the character changed without us needing to rig and animate it all over again. Okay, let me make the background layers visible. I limit the work area where I had marked before and play the animation to see how it turned out. So right here, the hair doesn't move. That's because I haven't looped the animation of the hair. Let's check it one more time. As you can see, the same problem happened to the other shoe as well. That's also because I haven't looped its animation. I just copy the expression from other paths and paste it for this one. I also cleared the cache. And also hide this layer that's from the previous character. Okay, it's pretty good. If you are interested in making animations and motion graphics in After Effects and you're still at the beginning of learning or even a professional and you want to have a smooth path to becoming a pro motion designer, I recommend you to enroll in Motion Hero course. Because in this masterclass, I talked about all the necessary topics that a pro motion designer needs with lots of practice and projects. So you have the fastest path toward perfection and you wouldn't have to do the same mistakes as I did. So enroll now and take your skills to the next level.